All right, sixth graders, here's a quick review video for Unit 4. In your Unit 4 test, these are your learning targets: multiplying and dividing decimals, multiplying and dividing fractions and mixed numbers, and converting improper fractions to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper fractions. First, we're going to review simplifying fractions because all of your answers should be written in simplest form. So in order to simplify a fraction, we're just looking at the top and the bottom, and we want to know, what can I divide out of both of those? I have to use the same number to divide, otherwise I'll have a different answer than what it's showing. So I notice I could divide by 3 for each of these, and I get 8/11ths. I look and say, can I simplify it anymore? In this case, no. For this one, if I divided by 3, which I can for each, I notice that I'm not quite done. I could still divide again by another 3. So we always want to take the biggest number that we notice because it will make our steps a lot faster, but it's okay to divide over and over until you get to the simplest form. So here I notice I could divide by 2, but I also notice I could divide by 8. So what I'm saying is, let's make sure that we divide by the biggest number that we notice because it will save us some steps. Since I noticed the 8, I'm going to divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 56 divided by 8 is 7. 40 over 110, I notice they both end with 0, which means I can divide them both by 10. And I get 4 out of 11, and that's in simplest form. 45 over 54, if I divide them both by 9, I get 5/6 and 4/12. Let's say I divided it by 2 first. I'd get 2/6. Notice how I'm not done yet because I have an even number on the top and an even number on the bottom. So we know that they're both divisible by 2. All right, if I want to change an improper fraction to a mixed number, I need to know a few things about these fractions. The first thing I need to know is the top is telling me how many pieces I have, and the bottom is telling me the size of my piece. So for this one, let's talk about pizza. Let's say I have 14 slices of pizza, and each pizza is cut into 5 equal pieces. I'm going to try and make them equal here. Okay, so that represents 1 pizza. If I wanted to say how many pizzas do I have, well, I'm going to ask, how many groups of 5 do I have in 14? I have 2 groups of 5, right? I could fill 2 full pizzas, and that would give me 10 slices. So I'm taking those 10 slices away and saying that's 2 pizzas, but I still have 4 slices left. That doesn't really make a full pizza. So 4/5, 2 and 4/5. Okay, then next, I'm asking myself, how many times does 7 fit into 29? It fits in there 4 times. When I take 4 groups of 7 out, I'm taking 28 pieces out of that group. So there's just 1 piece left, and the size of the piece is 7ths. And the last one, how many 3s fit into 16? 5 fit, that would be 15, and I have 1 left. Keep the same denominator. When I'm going the opposite direction, and I want to make these into improper fractions, I'm going to do what I call making it mad. Making it mad means that I am going to multiply, then add, and then keep the same denominator. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 9 times 3, and then I'm going to add. So I've got 9 times 3 is 27. Then I'm going to add my numerator, 29, and then keep the same denominator, 9. Let's talk about why that works. Notice this is my whole number. This is how many pizzas I have, for example. My pizzas are cut into pieces that would make 9 slices per pizza. So that would mean 9 slices would fit here, 9 would fit here, 9 would fit here, and it's telling me I have 2 more slices. Okay, so I've got 9, 9, 9. That's 3 groups of 9. In other words, 9 times 3. That's how I got my 27. And then I'm adding these 2 extra slices that come from the top here, and that's how I get my 29. Let's do the next one, make it mad. So I'm going to multiply and add. I got 12 plus 5 is 17/6. And the last one, multiply and add 29/4. When I'm multiplying fractions, I'm simply taking the top times the top and the bottom times the bottom. I like to say top times top, bot times bot. So the top times the top is 14, the bot times the bot is 27, and then I simplify when I'm done. This is in simplest form. Top times top, 6, bot times bot, 28. Simplify, I can divide them both by 2. 3/14. That's 4. If I'm multiplying mixed numbers, I'm going to make them mad and then multiply because I need to have a top and a bottom or I'm not going to be able to do top times top and bot times bot. So I'm going to make these mad. 33 plus 2, 35 elevenths times 33 fifths. Now here's a situation where I don't really want to take 35 times 33. That's a pretty big problem. I might have to, but in this case, I don't need to. I noticed that, well, you are allowed to simplify not just on the top and the bottom of a fraction, but when you're multiplying, since both tops end up on the top and both bottoms end up on the bottom, you can simplify across diagonally. So I'm going to look at the diagonals and I'm going to see, is there a number I can divide both 35 and 5 by? If there is, I'm going to do it. So I notice I can divide by 5. That gives me 7 here. That's my new top. And 1 here. That's my new bottom. Okay, let's do the other one. 11 and 33, I can divide by 11. I get 1, divide by 11, I get 3. The only rule is you have to divide by the same thing for both diagonals in order for it to work. So top times top, 21. Bot times bot, 1. 21 divided by 1 is 21. Okay, let's make the next one mad. Okay, I got 32 fifths times 21 eighths. All right, before I go ahead and multiply this, I noticed that I can divide both of these by 8. So I have a new top. 4 times 21 is 84. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 goes into 84. If we count by 5s, it goes in there 16 times with 4 left over. When I divide fractions, I use this little rhyme. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Just flip the second and multiply. Okay? It is really important with division that we follow these rules of flipping the second because order matters. So if I chose to flip the first one, that would be a mistake. I can't change the order. So I'm going to take my first one and rewrite it. I'm going to take my second one and I'm going to flip it. Now I notice that this is really 1/2. I'm just going to go ahead and change it right now to 1/2. You don't need to do that. I'm going to give them to you in simplest form. Top times top, 2. Bot times bot, 3. If I hadn't simplified that, it would just look like this. And I would have 4 over 6, and that could simplify to 2/3. I just simplified it before I started. The next one doesn't have a top and a bottom. So let's change this so that it shows a top and a bottom. Any whole number we can put over 1 to make it into a fraction that's equivalent to that whole number. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. Top times top, bot times bot. Simplify. All right. For this next one, I'm going to change this because I don't actually like the huge numbers that this turns out to be. So let's change it to 2 1/5 divided by, let's say, 1 1/3. Hopefully that turns out a little nicer. Okay, the idea is the same. I'm going to make each one of these mad. I'm going to leave the division sign in the middle. Then I'm going to follow the rules for dividing fractions. So first, I've got 11 fifths divided by 4/3. And then I'm going to say dividing fractions is easy as pie. Just flip the second and multiply. Top times top, bot times bot. Simplify, so I want to take this 20 and say it goes into 33 once with 13 left over. Done. Make them mad again. So I've got 24, 27 fourths divided by, remember I'm only changing one thing at a time, 19 halves. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Just flip the second, flip, and multiply. All right, before I take the top times the top and the bot times the bot, I would love to make these a little bit simpler, and I do notice I could divide these by 2. Okay, that makes it a little easier. 27 times 1 is 27. 19 times 2 is 38. I cannot simplify that at all, so I'm done. You're going to have some word problems where you need to decide what we need to do. Do we need to multiply or do we need to divide? So a jeweler makes bracelets out of wire. She has 2 1/3 feet of wire. It takes 5/6 of a foot to make each bracelet. With the wire she has, how many bracelets can she make? I want to use a mixed number to represent my answer. So I'm going to take my 2 1/3 and I want to divide it into groups of 5/6. So I'm dividing. I'm going to change this into an improper fraction. So 7/3 divided by 5/6. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Just flip the second and multiply. I would like to make this a little bit simpler, so I'm going to divide by 3. Top times top, bot times bot. How many 3's fit into 14? 4 of them do. With how much left over? 2. So I can make 4 full bracelets, or exactly 4 2/3 of a bracelet. A restaurant has 5 pounds of ground beef to make meatloaves. A mini meatloaf takes 3/8 of a pound. How many mini meatloaves can I make? So I'm going to take that 5 pounds and I'm going to divide it into pieces that are the size of 3/8. So I'm going to change this to a fraction and then use my rhyme. Dividing fractions is easy as pie. Just flip the second and multiply. Top times top, bot times bot. 3 goes into 40, 13 times, that's 39. Subtract, I have 1 left over 3. So I can make 13 1/3 mini meatloaves. That's it for tonight. Have a great night.